Hi, my name is Laghigna. I teach English as a foreign language at a high school in northern Italy. I have been teaching for about 15 years and I am an enthusiastic user of technology both in my private life and in the classroom. I'm recording this video with my iPad and I'll then move onto my laptop to share with you my desktop. I'll be using a screencasting tool, Jing, to show you some of the peer reviews I have made in some past MOOCs. I think that peer reviewing a colleague is a very important task and it should not be under-evaluated, both as a form of respect for the colleague who has probably been working hard to make their lesson plan, but also for us as teachers. I reckon we don't have enough opportunities to share ideas with other teachers and to compare our lesson plans in a friendly environment like this with people and colleagues that operate also in other countries. So this is a great opportunity, hands-on practice actually, to reflect on the way we are teaching, first of all, but also to put ourselves into another colleague's teaching context and try to figure out how we would deal with the same tasks that are in the lesson plan. So I hope that my experience could be of some use to you. Here I am back on my computer. You can see a peer reviewing activity we did for a past MOOC. This template was provided by the course designers. The MOOC was on key competencies and I attended it last November. This template helped us structure our feedback to fellow participants on the course. Here I was asked to evaluate, first of all, the evidence produced by two other participants on the course concerning how they incorporated certain key principles relating to the teaching and assessment of key competencies. In this assessment activity, I was asked to revise the learning stories of two other colleagues, check whether the designed activities were well balanced, and provide possible suggestions on how to improve their projects. I think this is actually the most useful part for a colleague who has submitted a lesson plan. That is, if there are any hints or suggestions on how to improve his or her work. I started, as you can see here, by emphasizing, of course, the positive features of this lesson. I described what I particularly appreciated, that is, that it was a sort of treasure hunt focused on mathematics, and the kids had been taken out of the classroom on a sort of a field trip around the town to solve problems in a collaborative way. I can only imagine how thrilled they were to study open air outside of the classroom. So I appreciated in particular the fact that this teacher used an integrated approach in teaching maths and that she tried to develop transversal skills. All in all, the activities were very very motivating and engaging for these primary students. I also tried to provide some hints and tips on how to improve this lesson. For example, I suggested integrating some forms of filming. I suggested using the kids' smartphones or other video utilities to record the learning trail, or else to integrate some other tools like Erasmus or Google Earth. This is another peer review that I made for a colleague. In this case, it was a teacher of English like me, so it was to some extent easier for me to make this peer review. I could give more suggestions. In this case, this colleague had chosen a PBL project-based learning. It was all focused on civil rights. I particularly appreciated the fact that she not only integrated a wide range of digital tools, but she also invited the students to visit a photo gallery in town, an exhibition by a local photo reporter, to see pictures of children and people that this photo reporter had taken around the world. This was an excellent chance to trigger students' curiosity and motivation, of course, for the project. My suggestion was to further extend the project beyond the classroom walls by trying to involve the photographer in the learning activities by inviting him to school or having him interviewed on the net. I know that this teacher managed actually to carry out her project, and she invited the photographer to school so that the students were able to interview him in reality. And this became the climax, really the highlight of the whole project. So it was really a good point. I tried anyway to put myself in this colleague's position, and I suggested some other tools that might be integrated in the PBL to improve discussion among students. For example, I suggested a Padlet for brainstorming or a Padlet for mind mapping. And I also suggested some discussion tools like Tricider, with which we had very nice experience in class with my students, Sticky Moose or Padlet again. Another tip was to integrate QR codes in case of an open day event at school, so as to offer the students a larger scene for the presentation of their project. So what I can say is that reviewing a peer was very useful to me. I had a chance to see and compare how we can use technology in the classroom, but above all because reviewing is somehow like simulating. I tried to ask myself, if I were to teach this lesson, what tools would I integrate? How would I improve it? Or make it more engaging for the students. What I didn't like about peer reviewing, well, not in this case, of course, but it happened to me. It can be rather embarrassing when you must review someone else's work, maybe a teacher who is older, far more experienced than you, and you find out that the criteria are not followed, or the learning objectives are not there. Even worse, if you should come to realize that part of the work is not original, that can be very embarrassing. Plagiarism is definitely the worst that can occur, actually. On the other hand, also receiving someone else's comments was very useful to me. Let me just briefly show you a couple of peer reviews that I received from other participants to the course. All were quite positive, I should say. I think a teacher's review of our work is like a helping hand that is offered to you. It opens you up to a new perspective that comes from someone who first of all understands what teaching is all about, and secondly can provide you with professional criticism. So, as you can see, in the first one, I got very positive remarks and congratulations, and of course I was very happy about that. Receiving positive feedback from a colleague is obviously very nice. It is very rewarding. We all like to see our work being appreciated, but just to congratulate a colleague is probably not exactly what peer reviewing is about. What I would like the most is to learn from a colleague, and this comes mainly from constructive feedback. In this case, the colleague raised some issues about my use of images, which apparently I did not give enough reference to copyright in her view. This triggered deeper reflection in me on the importance of copyright and copyright-friendly images in the classroom. This is an issue which concerns us all. I raised the issue of copyright in content creation on the Creative Classroom group on Facebook, and I asked my colleagues to express their opinion on that. we started a very nice discussion among the members of the group. I asked them to share their view. There were more than 26 comments on this thread. We exchanged ideas and resources on the topic of copyright, and many also shared resources. It was very useful, actually. So, all in all, I think that to do an effective peer review of another teacher's work, it might be useful, first of all, to understand what the teaching context is like, then try to get a general idea of what the learning story is about. Of course, highlight the strong points of the lesson plan. What did you like about it? See if the learning outcomes are in line with the activities planned, possibly if evaluation steps have been taken into consideration. Ask yourself how the lesson plan could be made more engaging for the students by providing possibly some tips. So I hope I've been of help. I wish you all happy completion of the course. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.